A hush heavier than the May drizzle will settle over Westminster this Friday, a silence that signals history is about to clear its throat. Behind closed Abbey doors, curators already whisper of Operation Cosmati, a codename borrowed from the medieval mosaic that has felt every royal footfall since Henry III. Dawn rehearsals by the household division hint at choreography more precise than any West End premiere, yet only a sliver of the plan is public. King Charles III and Prince William will preside over the tricentennial service of the Most Honourable Order of the Bath. To grasp the moment's gravity, one must rewind 3 centuries to the 18th of May, 1725, when George I signed letters patent formalising an order that had long rewarded knights who bathed in ritual purification before first light. That symbolic cleansing became the order's badge of honour. Today the bath is metaphorical, yet the ideal of service scrubbed clean of self-interest remains intact. Military heroes once dominated its ranks, but from the 19th century civil servants joined the procession, knitting Whitehall strategists to Waterloo veterans beneath a single crimson mantle. This week Westminster Abbey will wear its Gothic best. Stonemasons spent 2 nights dusting the Cosmati pavement with goat hair brushes, revealing shards of porphyry older than Rome. Florists from Windsor arranged blue delphiniums, Charles's environmental signature, beside the high altar, while stage electricians hid pencil-thin 8K cameras behind 13th-century screens. The sovereign leads the order, yet appears in person only every second service, making Friday a mathematical rarity, a tricentenary, a royal attendance, and a handover of the great mastership in one frame. Prince William steps into the collar previously worn by his father from 1975 until accession, echoing a line of succession that threads back to Wellington and forward to unknown futures. In private briefing notes, aides call the transition seamless continuity, but its emotional weight is neither seamless nor light. It is the visible hinge on which a kingdom's trust turns. 200 choristers will open the rite with a new canticle, Purga me et coronabis, its Latin refrain nodding to the order's bathing origins. The sheet music, commissioned from Master of the King's Music Judith Weir, modulates through unresolved chords before releasing into a triumphant major key when the prince receives his collar. Sound engineers tested the final crescendo at 95 decibels, just under the point where stained glass from Richard II's era is known to rattle. Watching from the choir stalls will be 5 new Knights Grand Cross, an admiral who oversaw Red Sea escorts, an air chief marshal specializing in drone integration, the cabinet secretary, a biomedical laureate whose work halved malaria deaths in Ghana, and the permanent undersecretary of the Foreign Office. Each will advance beneath banners embroidered with the order's motto Tria Juncta in Uno, 3 joined in 1, touch a sword resting on the altar, and pledge truth, honor, and fidelity before the shrine of Street Edward the Confessor. Their oaths link them to 775 living companions and to predecessors whose deeds fill regimental museums from Aldershot to Auckland. King Charles's own history with the bath colors the scene. Installed as Great Master by Queen Elizabeth II in 1975, he wore the same crimson mantle that Friday's investiture will return to ceremonial storage. Restorers recently discovered his teenage initials stitched into its seam by a court seamstress. The repair, now patched, remains as hidden graffiti on a state garment. Outside the Abbey cordons, cameras will broadcast to an expected global audience of 9 million, according to Sky Analytics. Social media monitoring firm Crown Metrics predicts peak engagement at the exact moment William kneels. Sentiment trackers traditionally spike when the public sees an heir display humility. During last year's Coronation Day coverage, #Kneel moment trended for 7 hours and generated an earned media value of £3.4 million, evidence that symbolic gestures retain tangible economic heft. Yet pomp alone cannot guarantee relevance. A 2024 Ipsos survey found that while 71% of Britons appreciate honours recognising merit, only 48% of Gen Z respondents feel chivalric orders speak to them. Palace strategists therefore urged Friday's script to highlight modern recipients, cyber defence pioneers, climate scientists, and public health leaders. Numbers tell their own tale. The order's annual cost, £612,000, equals 0.04% of the sovereign grant and roughly the price of 3 two-bed flats in Zone 3. Tourism returns dwarf expenditure. Westminster Abbey ticket revenue rose 11% in the quarter following the 2019 installation, according to National Audit Office figures. Soft power impact is harder to count yet palpable. Portland's 2024 Global Soft Power Index places the UK third, citing ritual continuity as a core metric. The ceremony's staging blends medieval and modern. Garters will jangle against microturned silk, bishops will hold iPads encased in gold leaf, their digital liturgy scrolling beside parchment manuscripts. Even the household cavalry mounts will wear 3D printed titanium horseshoes, lighter than steel and almost silent on Abbey flagstones. Security is choreographed to the second. MI5 has assigned Amber Plus status, one step below a state funeral, deploying plainclothes officers amid the congregation and geofenced drone jammers above the nave. An operations room beneath Dean's Yard plots crowd density in real time. If numbers swell beyond 30% capacity, the overflow protocol shifts visitors to a live screen inside Church House. Not all eyes belong to monarchists. Republic, the UK's leading abolition movement, plans a polite silent vigil on the opposite side of Parliament Square, holding placards that read "Honour Merit, not Birthright." Police briefings show no expectation of disruption. Indeed, some Republican spokespeople publicly praise the order for recognising civilian excellence even while questioning hereditary power. In the Commons tea rooms, MPs debate constitutional nuance. Former Defence Secretary Sir Ben Wallace calls the bath the state's handshake with its finest. Shadow Cabinet Minister Melanie On supports the honour system but urges a fully searchable database of citations. The Cabinet Office quietly confirms beta tests of such a portal for 2026. Press interest crosses oceans. Canada's CBC will simulcast, mindful that William is heir to their own throne. Australian networks will follow, though Republican referenda linger in political memory. Kenya's Nation Media Group plans a Sunday analysis, asking whether orders founded in Imperial Britain still resonate across the Commonwealth's diverse republics. Figures inside the order argue relevance rests on adaptability. Dame Helen Alexander's 2011 address as the first woman industrialist to join the Bath emphasized service that leaves the realm stronger than we found it. In 2023, Lindy Cameron, head of the National Cybersecurity Centre, became a companion for safeguarding digital infrastructure, proving that chivalry can defend Bite and Bennett alike. While public focus drifts to William, the Abbey's bricks carry older dramas. Under the Lantern Tower lies the tomb of the unknown warrior, whose 1920 burial bound monarchy and people after the Great War. Every night Grand Cross must bow there before processing, a reminder that duty transcends privilege and that sacrifice crowns ceremony. Ritual scripting leaves room for spontaneity. Weather forecasters predict light rain at 10 a.m. If sunlight breaks the cloud veil during the recessional, crimson robes will blaze against grey stone in a tableau both cameras and tourists adore. Old vergers joke that the Abbey orders such light for royal days. Meteorologists credit the London microclimate. Behind the velvet curtain, human nerves flutter. A junior page misplaced the ceremonial white gloves during Tuesday's rehearsal and borrowed a fraying pair from the sub-organist. The backstage mishap is logged in a 27-page risk assessment binder. Even William's spaniel, Orla, underwent extra grooming at Windsor to avoid stray fur on satin, proof that grandeur survives on granular details. When the prince receives the jeweled collar, its rubies will sparkle under arc lamps powerful enough to nudge the Abbey's smart grid into peak tariff. Engineers negotiated with the National Grid for a temporary exemption, ensuring no brownout dims the live feed. The broadcast signal passes through a latency reduction hub in Kent before satellites beam it to Ottawa, Canberra, and Wellington, capitals where constitutional futures quietly hinge on the prince's public reception. Once the oaths conclude, the congregation will sing William Byrd's O Lord, Make Thy Servant Charles Our King, its 16th-century harmonies retexted for the current monarch. A musicologist notes the anthem's original was written for Elizabeth I, making Friday a sonic bridge across 5 dynasties. Organ pipes restored after wartime bombing will underpin the final Amen, sending vibrations through stone that has survived plague, fire, and blitz. Luncheon follows in the Jerusalem chamber, where Henry IV died and where translators once debated the King James Bible. Guests will sip English sparkling wine from Sussex vineyards, Charles' nod to sustainable agriculture, and dine on Cornish crab with nettle-fed lamb, menus printed on recycled cotton seeded with wildflower spores. Afterwards, William will host a short briefing outlining his intention to create a Bath Fellowship for veterans tech startups, allocating £1 million from the Royal Foundation's New Service and Science Fund. Such initiatives chase more than headlines. Ministry of Defence retention studies show decorated officers re-enlist at rates 9% higher than peers, saving millions in training costs. A NATO white paper last year cited British honours as intangible force multipliers, a phrase certain to surface in defence think tank tweets by Friday night. Economic ripples extend beyond Whitehall. Coin collectors already bid on a Royal Mint silver proof celebrating the tricentenary, mintage 1650, retail price £102.50, expected to appreciate 20% within 3 years, if previous Jubilee issues are guide. Portobello Road merchants report a run on replica Bath badges. One stallholder told the Financial Times he sold more enamel stars this week than in the whole of 2024. Digital platforms feel the surge. YouTube's algorithm flags Order of the Bath as a breakout term. TikTok creators rehearse transition videos merging 1725 portraits with modern uniforms. The Palace communication team plans a 60-second vertical reel featuring slow-motion robe clips and an interview snippet where William describes duty as service in stereo, listening to history, answering the future. Critics will parse every word, yet data suggests ceremony still binds. The British Social Attitudes Survey recorded a 6-point rise in confidence in the monarchy after Charles' accession. Analysts predict Friday could deliver a similar bump if coverage remains positive. Polling by Canada's Angus Reid last month found that 58% of Canadians feel more comfortable with William as future head of state than any alternative, a statistic likely quoted during commentary. No script can guarantee such outcomes, but every detail tries. Chauffeurs will time the state Bentley to glide away at 12:12 p.m., a numerology echo of the Order's threefold motto. Police horses will wear earplugs sculpted from memorifoam to mute sudden applause. Pages will count 49 seconds from the sovereign's first step to the prince's kneel, matching the span between Charles's own kneel and Elizabeth II's nod in 1953 film reels. As the day closes, vergers will extinguish a candle left burning on the high altar since Matins. Abbey law claims that should the flame gutter early, the new officeholder's tenure falters. Staff humour the superstition, yet keep watch until the ember dies at 9 p.m. Only then will cleaners move in, sweeping confetti-fine red petals dropped from hidden vents above the choir to be pressed into commemorative bookmarks for the royal gift shop. Prince William will end his evening at Kensington Palace, penning letters of thanks in copperplate to choristers, jewellers, and security stewards. Some missives will include personal anecdotes. Sources say he often mentions his RAF training to young recipients, a nod to shared discipline. On his desk an open dossier bears a father's inscription from Tennyson, one equal temper of heroic hearts, underlined twice in violet ink. Beyond palace walls, the city will resume its ordinary rhythm. Buses clatter over Westminster Bridge, night cleaners polish parliamentary marble, and students argue politics in pubs unaware their debates echo centuries-old tensions. Yet overhead, ravens circle Abbey buttresses as they have since before Chaucer. Chroniclers with feathers for quills, they alone witness the true length of tradition. They will have seen a mantle change shoulders, a kingdom exhale, and a narrative of service unfold, one that threads Waterloo bugles, wartime codebreakers, and vaccine scientists into a single scarlet ribbon. Tomorrow's headlines will measure guilt and grandeur, but the ceremony's deeper current flows unseen, a quiet contract between dynasty and democracy, renewed not with slogans but with oaths older than any polling cycle. And while the cosmati stones cool in the night air, plans already stir for June's carbon-neutral Trooping the Colour, where solar-powered floodlights will illuminate scarlet tunics on Horse Guards parade. In our next report we will take you behind those rehearsals, revealing how a centuries-old pageant intends to redefine sustainability for a new reign.